Wow, was South Africa dominated in this day one of the first test between New Zealand and South Africa. Us as a South African public, we stayed awake, or majority of us would have stayed awake to watch this game. It was something that we were very much looking forward to for quite some time, and particularly from a batting perspective, because I think a lot of players were hoping that we would see a certain lineup, and we didn't get that lineup. Ryan Rickleton did not get a start in this particular game, even though they played the extra batter in Zubair Hamza. But this particular performance and the way South Africa performed throughout this game, um, it was sloppy. We have to be admitted. In the field, it was poor. With a bat, it was poor. Now, there were certain aspects in the game where we could say that it was good bowling from New Zealand, and it's because of the good bowling that the wicket fell. For example, Sadal Ievia's wicket, you could possibly say that for. But other than that, it's pretty much just poor shot selection from South African perspective, poor judgment of the wicket, and poor judgment and execution of the game plan. Now, that's just my quick summary of what I think took place in this particular match. You guys can also have your opportunity to call in on the show. The link is in the description for that. And you can have your say about this. But I'm first and foremost going to just give you a quick review of everything that happened. And then we'll look ahead at the next day, which starts at midnight South African Standard Time again. We'll be up pulling an all-nighter again for that particular day too, which we're hoping will turn things around from a South African perspective. If you're new to this channel, if it's the first time that you're here, please subscribe. Please click that notification bell for all future videos as well. The button will be red, of course, if you haven't subscribed yet. And click that notification bell for all future videos. You'll get notified as soon as we upload or go live. If you are new to this channel as well, please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen and in the description. Smash the like button, comment and share. Do all of those things too. That's how we'll get noticed on YouTube as well. And if you're new to this channel as well and you haven't heard before, please become a patron. If you enjoy our content, become a patron. It's your way of showing how you support us as an organization. And because we are 100% bootstrapped, we need your help. So please go ahead and click on that link on the screen or in the description to get access to that. We've activated the super chat too. I've sent out the links to everybody. Let's see who comes on and joins the show. But so far, it's just going to be me so far. And let's see what you guys have to say in the live chat. Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Moeden. This is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with day one of the first test between South Africa and New Zealand. So South Africa were presented with a green track. They lost the toss and were put into bat first and were completely humiliated by New Zealand. They were bowled out for 95 runs. The best performer of the day was Hamza with his 25. He looked really good for his 25, and then he played at a shot that he shouldn't have and went out and nicked off. Henry was phenomenal during this particular match. I mean, what more can we say about him? 7 for 23 is an exceptional return for seamer. We did know that this particular pitch will favor the seamers, and it did exactly that. And we obviously saw Henry do put on an excellent performance when it comes to that, because my word, Matt Henry was just phenomenal with his lines and lengths and keeping the pressure on. But this showed that we should be approaching the batting on this particular pitch a lot differently. I listened to Ashwell Prince and Vernie Philander's chat this morning after the day's play, and they were chatting to Pami and Bangwa, and you know, Ashwell raised a good point, and I was thinking the same thing too. South Africa playing too many shots over here on a wicket that is going to move like this and swing around, and it's going to be so seamer friendly. There's no need to give yourself an opportunity to get nicked off, or to chase a wide delivery or a short delivery and get nicked off. It's unacceptable, frankly, because we know what the wicket is going to be like. Now, yes, you can get a good ball. The bowlers were swinging it in and out, um, but leave them. If it's outside off, just leave the ball. I mean, this is about patience. This is about sticking out in the middle, being patient in the middle, making sure that you can face as many balls as possible and put pressure back on New Zealand. Because every single time we give them an opportunity to get a wicket, we're giving the game back to them. We're giving them the power once again. So it was quite frustrating to see that. Um, Particularly also the captain Algo going out in the first over already. Like that was just not going to help South Africa from any perspective, or from any perspective. So I think we were on the back foot from the start when it comes to this match. Um, I don't know if I don't want to make excuses for them. I don't know how much it had to do with the 10-day quarantine that they had to give, and it's just cobwebs or something. But from my perspective, in so many occasions, in so many games so far this season, we've started quite slow, and we've been quite we've been quite consistent when it comes to starting so slowly. Unfortunately, test or fourth test of years to allow ourselves to start so slowly. So it is a bit disappointing, and I was a bit disappointed with the performance overall, particularly the way we lost our wickets. And there needs to be a proper change in the approach when we get a second chance to bat. Now, mind you, New Zealand hasn't necessarily batted amazingly either. They also were in a little bit of trouble, but not enough trouble to put the pressure on them quite yet, I feel. If we had a lot more on the board, then it would be obviously a different story. But if you bowl a team out for 95, I guess you have a little bit of wickets to play with. So Dwan Olivier bowled quite decently, I think. From my perspective, I think he bowled quite well actually in this wickets. Maybe he was right to say that, or maybe the assessment is right to say on a wicket that has movement, maybe Dwan can be very dangerous on those wickets. Maybe the county stunts have helped him become a little bit more lethal with the ball, the way the ball was moving um, in Christchurch. So I was impressed with his performance with the ball. KG Rabada also bowled pretty well, starting off quite well as well. I have to give him credit. Obviously, he just needs a wicket under his belt, and I'm hoping that he'll be the one that will destroy New Zealand today. That's what I think all South Africans are hoping for. But we have to talk about this batting and how we're going to sort this out. Now, it doesn't help, but when we find someone that is looking to be the the next rock in the team, then we lose him. And then you have to find someone new to bring in, and you're constantly having debuts and constantly having new guys getting performances or playing in the middle. It doesn't help the stability of the lineup. But in defense of that, and from my opinion, is you need a solid start up front. And when last have South Africa had a good start at the top? Our opening partnerships have been dreadful, and it doesn't matter who we've changed them with. Even when we changed the Dean Alger's partner, whoever is next to him, it's been it hasn't been necessarily the greatest viewing from a South African point of view. Looking at the way the opening batters have performed over the last couple of years, that's the I feel sets the tone for everything. You can have a great number 4, a great number 5, a great number 6, whatever the case may be, but if you can't give your batters the best possible opportunity to perform and do well from the get go, everything is going to be hard all the time, and that's what's happening with South Africa. We're losing early wickets, and it's putting a lot of pressure on everybody else. Now, mind you, there was a lot of talk online and on Twitter, on social media, when Ryan Rickleton was left out of the team for Zubair Hamza. It seems to be a move transformationally, because obviously with KP out as well as Lungi out, the numbers were but completely skewed. So it does kind of seem that way. But I can also see a logical aspect of the argument to the other side, where you're giving a guy that's supposedly more experienced in domestic cricket the opportunity over a guy that's less experienced in 4-day cricket, which is ultimately the case with regards to Ryan Rickleton and Zubair Hamza. But I don't think that the selection was Zubair Hamza or Ryan Rickleton. Me personally, I think that it had to do with whether Markram would have stayed in the side or not, as well as Cyril Ever coming in um, for KP Peterson. So the extra batter could have been either Ryan Rickleton or Zubair Hamza, and they opted for Zubair Hamza. And Zubair Hamza did pretty okay. He did all right. I was hoping that he would push on and do better, because we know what he's capable of. But it seemed to be the order of the day, losing cheap wickets. So, Werner, let me get your thoughts on this. What is your thoughts? Because we have gave a nice long preview on everything that we wanted to see, and everything that we wanted to see we never saw. So, what's your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, Khalid, it's been disappointing as a whole so far. The guys just didn't seem mentally ready for the test. A lot of loose shots that didn't really seem like they were thinking about what they were doing. Markram shot loose outside the off stump, really a nothing shot. Same with Hamza just poking at it. Temba just lobbing one to mid wicket, playing early. So many easy wickets that we just gave away. Yes, New Zealand bowled quite well. I thought Henry was very good. He was consistently bowled in good areas, got that fuller length, did exactly what he had to do. But in the end, I think about 60-70% of our wickets were our own undoing. And I think that's a disappointing thing. On a wicket that is difficult, you can't then still be giving cheap wickets away. And yeah, the day as a whole was a bit hard to watch. To be fair, I thought New Zealand won a very good toss. I thought beforehand that if we could win the toss and bowl first, it would be very good. Based on how it's gone at that venue in the past, and it being a green pitch to have some moisture in it. And you could see it got a little bit better to bat on as the day went on and the sun was baking on the pitch. So I think that was a very good toss for them to win again. I think that's the fourth test toss that Algar has now lost in a row, which is a bit unlucky, but those things happen, and then you've got to make use of the cards you've been dealt with, and I think we've done poorly. I agree with you. The fact that we're still not getting any solidity at the top is a major problem. Now it was Arvir that came in, but still Algar went out early, and then the whole batting lineup really followed. There was some semblance of a partnership between Verena and Hamza, but not really enough to change the mood of the day and to change much of the score, because we still didn't even reach 100 runs. In terms of the Rickleton Hamza selection, I don't understand it personally. I would have definitely chosen Rickleton, because the debate was, would it be Arvir or Hamza if they were to come in at number 3 for KP, and we all said, okay, no, it will be Arvir, and it makes sense. He's been in the squad for a long time. But the fact that they then decided to drop Maharaj, which I thought they should do on this pitch, and I said in the previous show that I would then bring in Rickleton and play him at 6. It's strange for me that you would bring in Hamza, who wasn't part of the original squad before KP got COVID, and Rickleton, having come off 3 centuries in 4 matches domestically, and having been with the squad over the last year, the last couple of series, it just seemed the logical selection would have been Rickleton in that situation. And it would have been also good to have another lefty in the middle. That would have helped maybe as well. So I think it's disappointing. I would have loved to see Rickleton in there. It might not have made a major difference, But I don't think we can say, okay, Hamza top scored, so that selection was the right thing. I think you need to go about what was the process in picking him in the first place, because we don't know if Rickleton made his debut. If he might have made 40, we won't know. But I'd like to know what was the thinking behind getting Hamza in ahead of Rickleton. But yeah, the whole day was disappointing from start to finish. I thought our bowlers were decent, but they didn't get the ball in a good area consistently enough. Once again, not getting that fuller length. I agree with you. I thought Duan Olivier was a lot better, and I thought he was the most threatening at times. He got that fuller length. He bowled that beautiful delivery to get Tom Latham top of off. Beautiful delivery, but 4 or 5 drop catches going down, that's just inexcusable. At this level, it really is. Some very easy catches. I think all of Rasi, Bavuma, Janssen, all those Hamza, all those catches going down, they'll be very disappointed, and that's the reason why we are in the position with the ball that we are now. We could have had them 5 down now for less runs and still been more in this game. I think from here is going to be a lot of catch up. We're going to have to restrict them for 150, 180 at most to make sure that lead isn't too much. But it's going to be a big call. It's where our bowlers are going, and then it's going to take a massive effort from the bat with the bat in the second innings to really get us back into this. I think just it's been disappointing how slowly we've started Test series. It has been a consistent pattern where we go into a first test of the first innings, and we don't perform as we should. We are really slow starters, and it's frustrating that we always have to play catch up and try and salvage things in the second innings. We should be good enough to play on the front foot and put the opposition under pressure from the get-go. There is mitigating factors, I guess. You can talk about the 10-day quarantine. You can talk about players not getting any practice matches ahead of a series these days. You don't get to practice against some provincial teams in the country you are touring. So you don't have any real middle practice, so to say, before a series. But I don't think that it can really be an excuse. These are professional cricketers, and you would expect a lot better from them. And I think they'll expect a lot better from themselves as well. And I'm hoping that on day 2 they'll come back a lot better.
I'm going to bring Abai into the show. Abai, we'd like to hear your thoughts as well. Thank you for covering the game from a written perspective as well.
Yeah, it was far from a good day, and even that's an understatement. But at the same time, you can't give up hope. I mean, there's still 4 more days of cricket to go, and yeah, these things can happen. But at the same time, you can't let that affect you too much in the forthcoming days. I mean, apart from a bad batting display followed by a bunch of drop catches while New Zealand was batting. I feel like things could have been done better. I know I've seen on social media like people disputing the selection of certain players. That doesn't really matter. Regardless of who you're playing, you got to apply yourself when it comes to these kinds of conditions. I'm fully aware that this green top was a tough surface to bat on, but this is a challenge of Test cricket, and if you aren't up to the task, you'll pay dearly for that. But with that being said, yeah, it's been pretty disappointing, and let's see what's in store for today.
Yeah, let's see, because it was very disappointing, and it was very embarrassing actually to witness that, because every single time I feel like we're going in a spiral. South Africa a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, were having probably major problems with spin. And it looked like they got into the swing of things, learned their craft, played better against spin. It's been a lot better recently. They look a lot more comfortable against the spinners. And now it seems like any swing bowler can nick them off. So now again, we're sitting with a situation where we're struggling with seam bowling. and particularly swing bowling. I wouldn't say necessarily all seam bowling, particularly swing bowling against the likes of Afridi and the likes of Shami, and you can see that the even today. It was just embarrassing to watch them perform the way they did and to lose the wickets like they did, because Matt Henry today, Tim Southey today, even Kyle Jamieson today just made us look average. And yeah, it's something that I hope improves, and I don't know how they're going to improve it, because it seems like they almost all look like they're having technical flaws when it comes to seam bowling. And yeah, there's obviously going to be debates, and the first thing people are going to go to is the selection. Now, whether Ryan Rickleton would have helped us or not, we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
We don't know that, but I mean, a lot of us wanted. I myself said too, based on form, based on the recent domestic series. I understand the point of view. Like I try to understand everybody's view and point, and try to look at something sitting in the middle and listening to both sides of the story and looking at both visions and views. I don't. The thing that I don't get is because it happened with Kyle Verreynne too, where they emphatically stated that Kyle Verreynne would be a backup keeper to Quinton de Kock at the time, and the only way Kyle Verreynne would play is if Quinton de Kock is not the keeper. And then in some cases they would decide, oh no, but wait, let's make Klassen keeper, and then Kyle will play as a batter. So they would change their mindset and mentality. And then this reeks a bit like that too. It's like Kyle's the keeper, but Ryan, you can't play two keepers in the team. And I don't understand how that's even a thing. Because you are batter first, I feel. The keeper comes second in my eyes. I think the batting aspect of it is more important, because if any of those keepers had to be told that they needed to drop the gloves and choose between that keeping and batting, they would all pick batting 100%, of course, because you can't obviously keep without batting really. Although there are some exceptions to the rule in the world of cricket in the past, where there are some really crappy batters that were good keepers. But in this particular case, I don't see that as a good enough excuse for the reason why they didn't pick him. Transformation, I don't think is also the reason 100% fully. I don't think, because if transformation was an issue, then they would have had issues with the previous teams, because I mean we're not really meeting the requirements over the season anyway. We are far behind it. One game's not going to change it. That's my concern with the transformation targets. Now, I don't feel the transparency from Cricket South Africa has been there again when it comes to these selections. We heard Dean Elgar speak about specifically Zubair Hamza and specifically Sarel Ervia as either or to come in for KP. We never even heard Ryan Rickleton's name in that press conference when it comes from Dean's side. So it's like their thought process is, and if the only logical explanation I can give or can think about is the fact that Zubair already played Test cricket. But should that be, if you've only have so little games under your belt, shouldn't that even be an equation when it comes to being selected or not? So yeah, it's very complicated and very confusing when it comes to selections, and I don't like that there's no transparency between the selectors and fans, because isn't that the reason you're playing cricket in the first place, for us as fans to enjoy it?
Pretty much. Another thing I kind of noticed was this kind of tentative trend when it came to batting. I believe on yesterday's show, I think Malcolm said that there's a bit of bounce on the Hagley Oval surface, so that means you should trust your judgment a bit more and don't be afraid to leave the ball. But we saw Dean Elgar playing a loose shot. We saw we saw Aiden Markham playing a loose shot. Sarel Ervia as well. I guess there wasn't quite a clearly defined plan on how to approach this, especially since these conditions were, I guess, a little bit on the extreme side. But at the same time, I don't like to blame the pitch or anything, because whenever you visit a place to go play Test cricket, you're kind of aware of what's going to be in store, and you gotta prepare accordingly for that.
Feel like they almost searched to get bat on ball consistently all the time. It was a constant search to feel the bat on ball. There wasn't a lot of strategic leaving when it comes to just leaving the ball, let it go past, let the bowler use his energy up by just bowling a lot of deliveries away from the ball. I mean, there were certain deliveries they played that wasn't even troubling them. I feel that they on this pitch they should only play if it's going into their wickets or into their stumps. If it's angling into the stumps and could trap them LBW or could bowl them, then go for it. But when the ball is hitting you mid drift and you're playing shots like this in the air, it's unnecessary. You can just leave it. It's a test match. You got 5 days. Do they forget that? It's just something that I'm always thinking. But we've got Ashwani over here on the call. Welcome to the show, brother. What would you like to say?
First of all, hello to Khalid, Vernon, and Abhay. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
All good.
Tired, but good, thank you.
My point is regarding I don't watch the test match fully because of the time zone issue. But whatever I saw, I think South Africa uh, uh, batters. I think they played too many shots, uh, and New Zealand bowlers. I think they bowl brilliantly and they use the conditions brilliantly. And when India came to New Zealand 2 years ago, I think Indian batters also found it's very difficult. And I think that guy, Matt Henry, he bowling that 4 to 6 meter length, and it causes lot of problems to South African batters. But I think as the day progress, if you saw the pattern in New Zealand, I think the first day is difficult to bat, but the day progresses. I think it is easy to bat in the New Zealand. I think as compared to the first day, the day 3, 4, and even the last day, it is you can say that easy to bat. And if South Africa can bowl out uh, New Zealand under 180, 190, I think they can still come back in this match. They have to bat really well in the second inning. If South Africa can post around 350 to 400, they can make comeback in this match. And one thing I think South Africa should do, I think they have to work on their slip catching, and they drops too many catches, which I saw in the highlights. I think South Africa have to need to work on their fielding, which I think from the past 2 to 3 years they drop too many catches, and I wish them best of luck for this test. I don't think South Africa will win this test, but I think if they play well, they can definitely do this test.
Thanks a lot, Ashwani, for the call. That's some excellent points. We're going to discuss it further now on the show. Talk to you very soon, mate. Can't believe I just said mate. Why did I say mate? Anyway, so let's continue talking. Aditya, you coming to the show quite late. Let us know what your thoughts are. We were just talking about the poor batting, the poor fielding, and the basic poor display by South Africa. You went to the presser, so what did Dwan Olivier, for example, have to say?
Well, there wasn't a lot that he could say, but he did sound optimistic, and he talked about the quintessential South African character of bouncing back from adversity. And he said that cricket is a funny game, and there could be a 180 turn tomorrow if South Africa do well in the first session. But in saying that, and look, we can talk as much, we can dissect that 95 all out as much as we want. But and we can also talk about the brilliance of New Zealand's bowlers. They're quite unrelenting. But one thing that we should take into consideration is that if you look at batters 2 to 7, all of them faced a minimum of 30 balls, and they batted for a minimum of 30 minutes, which tells you that batting wasn't entirely impossible. Like if you've played 30 balls, you've had some chance of getting yourself in. Look, Dean Elgar made, I think, one of 8 or 9 balls. So there you can say that he didn't get in. He played a shot he shouldn't have. Fair enough. Opening is a tough job in cricket. But if you look at 2 to 7, your entire batting order has faced at least 30 balls. So then the question is that if you're getting out after playing 30, 40, 50 balls, then that's more a question of discipline and short selection as opposed to anything else. And that's probably something that South Africa need to take into consideration now, because personally I feel like South African batters are struggling with finding that balance between attack and defense. And all the catches that Southey took and Conway took in in that quarter, um, probably indicative of that. So tough day in the office for South Africa, but yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, Abai, I just want to ask you a question as well on this before you leave, because I heard an from the commentators specifically, they were talking about maybe playing more attacking to the on this particular wicket. Um, because what's the point of defending if you're just going to lose your wicket so cheaply? Basically, was the narrative of that, and also if you play a little bit more attacking against these bowlers, you're going to put them under a lot of pressure, because for the margin for them as well is very small on where they need to pitch that delivery. So if you can start getting singles off them and rotate the strikes and get cheap runs off them, it's going to put a hell of a lot of pressure on them. So how do you feel South Africa should approach, first and foremost, the bowling right now? Because, I mean, first and foremost, if we field better, I mean, damn, it's a South African problem. There's 40 catches the last time I checked were dropped in the CSA T20 challenge so far, which is flipping ridiculous. 5 in one match in a Proteas game. It's also unacceptable. So from that perspective, let me hear what you have to say, your final thoughts there. And from a batting, when we do go into bat again, how do you think they should approach it? We're assuming that the wicket will be a lot better though by then.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna say three things. So first of all, if we look at the first session, the very first session of yesterday, 4 wickets fell down, all were slip catches, and you want to know what New Zealand's slip catching rate was? 100%. They didn't drop even a single chance. 4 chances went into the cordon, and they grabbed all of them. I can't make this stuff up. So that's my first point. And my next point is, if you're gonna bat, you need to play sensibly. I understand that the surface may get a little easier to bat on over the course of the game, but that doesn't mean you should play rash shots. There's got to be that kind of middle ground. You can't attack too much, but at the same time you can't be in survival mode all the time, despite a bad first innings. I mean I get it. It was too tentative an approach last time around, but this is a chance to correct it. And if I were to make this sort of academic comparison, you can't take a test with the purpose to learn from that. I know, if I were to say it a little differently, you can't use an exam as a means to a final exam as a means to find areas to work on. You need to study beforehand. You need to be ready beforehand, so that when you enter the exam hall, you want to knock the damn thing out of the park. Seriously. I'm going to sign off with that.
Excellent. Because thanks Abba for coming on the show. I'll chat to you again very soon, bro. Good luck with the rest of your day of work.
Oh yeah, one more thing I want to add. I'll be sure to cover day 2 and the rest of the match. You can find the match reports, all that jazz, on cricketfanaticsmag.com. Thanks, guys.
He loves to do that, the plugs. Oh, I love it, Abba. Keep on doing it. I'll chat to you soon, Abba. Thank you a lot for coming on the show. So, Werner, I want to ask you this, because I'm going back to that interview that I heard this morning with Vernon and Ashwell, etc. And Ashwell spoke a little bit. I don't want to misquote him, because then I'll probably get a phone call. But he was talking about leaving with intent as well. You can have a positive intent and still leave having a positive mindset. So can you just talk to me about that? Because that was something that I maybe noticed in the test. Maybe I'm talking a whole lot of hogwash over here, and they approached it maybe the right way. I don't know. But for me personally, I think they needed to leave a lot more than try and get bat on ball. Or try and force it at least.
Yeah, but this has been a problem for a long time in a test format for us. Just not the ability or the sense to leave the balls alone. Easy balls they could leave alone outside the off stump. I think to balls like Markram got out to and Hamza got out to, really nothing shots that they could have just easily left. You really want the bowlers to bowl to you, right? If if the pitch is moving around, and it's difficult to get boundaries, you want to get the bowlers to start bowling straight at you so that you can work it into the leg side for some easy singles or clip it away for four. And I think a lot of our batters still play out in front of themselves too. They're not doing the basics of Test match batting very well. They're not waiting for the ball to come to them, playing it under the eye as late as possible, head over the ball. Those type of simple basics that you learn from a young age. They've not really been really using that. I've seen a lot of limited overs approach from some of the shots, like that Aiden Markram shot. That's not a test match shot. That might be a test match shot if you're 200 runs in front and you're looking to set a nice big target and looking to put the foot down, but it just didn't make sense in the situation. Seeing how much the ball was doing, seeing how well the New Zealand bowlers were bowling, I get the point of wanting to put some pressure back on the bowlers, but do it smartly. There's no point trying to do it recklessly because you're going to lose your wicket. I think obviously not everybody's going to be AB de Villiers, not everybody can do that, but there's ways of putting pressure back on the bowlers besides just trying to smash it. And getting balls into gaps and running hard is one of those ways. And as you said, that Ashwell Prince made the point of leaving well and looking attacking in the way you're leaving. I remember the way Jacques Callis always left the ball, and it just looked so like positive. It's like, okay, but this guy looks solid. Look at the way he's leaving the ball. He's in the right headspace. You can see he knows what he is doing. So the bowlers are like, okay, well, the only way we're going to get this guy out is we've got to attack the stumps, and then he'll clip them off, or they'll overpitch a bit and he'll drive them through the covers. I think a lot of that basics have been lacking, and we've been very loose. So yeah, it's been disappointing. I expect more from our batters. They all have the ability to do it, and we've seen it domestically. I mean, you could say to Aiden Markram, play at the Titans and he'll smash 100 after 100, but it is a mental shift against international bowlers who bowl in good areas more consistent. All the pressure that the New Zealand bowlers applied to us, it was from both ends the whole time. They bowled very well in partnerships. I think they hit that fuller length a lot more consistently and made us play a lot more than we did when they came out to bat. And I think that's the biggest difference.
I have switched it to the preview because we're now talking about what day 2 is going to be like and etc. So it is now the preview part of the show. There's a specific thing that showed this, Aditya, and from my assessment, they went into this game plan with the mindset of we're going to block, we're going to play defensive, and then we're going to punish the bad delivery, we're going to wear them down, we're going to play that gritty type of style of cricket. And I feel that's the reason why they moved Aiden down and put Sarel rather as an opener. Maybe they are looking to move Aiden anyway down, and that was a decision that we're going to make regardless of whether KP was available or not. We don't know. But the intent looked like it was to block it out, play defensive. So much so that there were some half volleys that were bowled where New Zealand bowlers missed the mark, could have been put away, and it was blocked. That's the type of thing that I want to see a switch in. That they have this. That's what smart cricket is. We've been touting the smart cricket all the time. It's not about having a predetermined game plan and then sticking to that game plan no matter what. If a bowler does bowl a half volley at you or bowls off or misses his mark, put him away. Score the runs. Even if it is just a quick single or double or whatever the case may be. So Aditya, going forward into day 2, what would you like to see from South Africa?
Look, like you said, it's it's necessary to strike that balance between attack and defense. That's what batting in Test cricket is about. Rahul Dravid was the ultimate defensive cricketer, but when the bad ball was presented, he would put it away because he knew that he's not going to get too many of those at international level. So I think somewhere in this T20 era, I think Test cricket batting has just been complicated far too much. And a lot of times there's this fancy terminology used. That this ball has got your name on it. I mean, fine, yes, at some point, yes, but it's in your control to be able to ensure that the ball that has your name on it appears only after you score 250 by yourself. So look, I think there is a certain degree of mental adjustment that the Proteas batters need to make, and I'm not sure that moving Aiden to three when he has been down on confidence for an entire series and playing Saril as an opener has done the team any good. Not to mention playing Zubair Hamza at number 6 or 7, because in a situation where one player would have been out of position, that's Saril Erbi. Now you've basically got two players out of position, and I don't think that helps anyone. Certainly on the first day of a new series. So that's certainly an issue. Uh, but look, I think if you're talking about the second innings at this point, South Africa are going to be looking to their bowlers to save them. If as Olivier said that they try to get New Zealand out for 180. I mean, if that really happens and then South Africa put on 500 runs, then who knows? Anything can happen. But as of now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, but I'm sorry, just to add one more thing. Sachin Tendulkar just gave an interview like yesterday, and he was talking about the way that he and the Indian team approach Test cricket. He said, "We think that Test cricket being 5 days is really slow." He basically broke it down as the first 3 days are building into four and five, at which point the game moves at a remarkably quick pace. So sometimes you have to do backward planning and play days 1, 2, and 3 based on some sort of an indication of what day 4 and 5 will look like. And I think in this modern era, generally a lot of teams don't do that. Uh, but at this point, seeing how South Africa is going, I think it would help them to employ that approach.
In fairness, it's not the first time we hearing that the bowlers need to save us. So your hopes for day 2?
Yeah. I guess we can only hope that the bowlers will be able to dismiss New Zealand fairly quickly, but it's not going to be easy. There are some quality batters to come, and they also bat very deep. I mean, if you think Neil Wagner has made, or Wagner, however he wants to go by these days, he's made a 50 against us, and he's coming in at 10. So it's not going to be easy going to dismiss them. Even if we get a few quick wickets, I could definitely see their tail wagging. Jameson is also a very capable batter. So it's going to be a real uphill battle, but we do have the bowlers to do it. I think somebody like Janssen could really adjust his length a little bit. He was pretty good yesterday, but I thought he was still a touch too short. He didn't create enough opportunities after that first wicket. I think he can just learn from the way that Matt Henry went about it, just getting that 4 to 6 meter length. I think it will make a big difference. Same to Rabada. I think all of them can pitch it up a little bit fuller. Even if they drive you for a couple of fours, chances are one of those you'll probably nick them off. So I'd rather them driving us for a couple of boundaries and then getting the wicket than have them play out a few dot balls, but we're not really threatening the bat. So that's the first thing, right? We need to dismiss them today, because if they're still batting come day 3, this game is pretty much over. So we'll need to do that, and then do the basics right when we come back. Play the ball on its merit. Don't be reckless. Try and set a good platform. If we can get our openers to get us off to a good start, see off the new ball, then hopefully the guys to follow can really lay some foundation, get us to a big score. But I can't remember the last day we batted out the whole day, or the last time we've made 350 plus. So it's a big ask. It really is a long road to get back from here. It's not impossible. I do feel the pitch is getting better, and it will probably still be getting better as the next 2 days come. So the opportunity is there, but they'll really have to grab it. There's no more sitting back. We'll have to turn things around very quickly. It's only a 2 test match series, so if we go down here, we can't win the series anymore. So it's going to be important to really come back in the second innings and really fight for it. As we always say, they're very good at fighting from behind. Something that frustrates me because I don't want us to be playing from behind the whole time. But hopefully they can put up that fight. Hopefully Algar can lead from the front in the second innings, as he often does, and then we need a lot more from Aiden and Rassi. 1 or 2 of the more senior batters in the side, seeing as Hamza's come in, Arvis come in, Verena. So these two really need to turn things around. They can't just be getting 20s and getting out anymore. We need some big scores from them, because if we don't, there's really not going to be any coming back from this.
Yeah. So, guys, I think we summed it up for you. We've spoken about our points. I mean, I've spoken about Racing in length before, where I thought that we should rather do some investing maybe with someone else, maybe like a Ryan Dickerton, maybe a Zubair Hamza, maybe a younger guy, even younger than that, and look past Rassie van der Dussen, because to me, in Test cricket, he doesn't seem as confident and as sure as he is in white ball cricket. Like, I feel that his Test cricket game, it's still something that he's working on. If I'm maybe incorrect in saying that, but it does kind of still seem like we have too many players in this team that are still trying to work out their Test game. That's going to cause problems going forward, especially when you want to compete for the Test Championship. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for all future videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight in your inbox every single month. Link is on the screen and in the description. And to help us out as well, become a Patreon. The link is on the screen and in the description as well. That's how you help us, because we're 100% bootstrap, guys. So we need all the help we can get. So if you guys even contribute with a $1, $2, $3 tier, it will help us so much going forward. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys again tomorrow with another review type show, where we'll bring you everything that happened on day 2 of the first test between South Africa and New Zealand. But don't forget as well, we will be bringing out our latest issue of the magazine. We're working hard to do that currently. The guys have been sending in their articles over the last couple of days, so we're putting it together. I actually have a special interview this evening as well with the captain of the team. So hopefully that goes well, and we can bring that to you on the day of that we launch. We're looking to launch maybe either Friday or on Monday. We're still deciding on whether we can get more interviews in, because it's difficult with the time zones and New Zealand and the bubbles and everything that's happening with the women's team. This is a Women's World Cup edition, so we really want to give a proper issue and dedicate an issue to the women's team, because I think they deserve it 100%. They deserve the recognition. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show, review/preview show. Thank you, Werner. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you to all of you in the comment section. Stay safe, guys, and enjoy the rest of the match.